Today's video is sponsored by Bright Cellars. This right here is an apple. Now actually, it's a vegan buttercream frosting that was made from an apple. Now, I originally saw this on Emmy Made, and I pretty much am following her instructions, but she actually was recommended this recipe from a channel called Cakes and Cooking. Now, this recipe, as it was absolutely phenomenal, but I wanted to make a few tweaks to it. I switched up a few things to make it just a little bit more creamy, a little less appley, and also to really give it that rich buttercream taste. And wait until you see the cake that I made. I made it in the microwave in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Double layer birthday cake. Okay, so to get started on this, we got a bunch of apples. Now we're probably not gonna need all of these, but I'm gonna make a little bit of extra applesauce just because Passover's coming up and we're gonna need some. But from both the original video from Cakes and Cookies, the Russian channel that made this, and Emmy Made, they both started with applesauce. I just wanted to deliver on the promise that we're making this cream from apples, so that's how we're starting. Let's start by making a very simple applesauce. Now, for my apples, I decided to go with Golden Delicious. I believe Golden Delicious is going to make the most delicious applesauce. It's a lighter flavor than a lot of other apples, and they're softer apples too, which hopefully will give us a little bit better texture than just like the store-bought applesauce. Now that the apples are peeled, we're just gonna quarter them, and I'm just gonna put them in a large bowl here. And then you can even quarter the quarters if you want. I want these to be fairly small pieces. The smaller the pieces, the quicker they're gonna cook. Down into an applesauce. So I just threw about as many apples that would fit into my saucepan that would fit. I would say from the looks of it, we probably used about 6 out of the 8 apples that I had. These were pretty large Golden Delicious apples, so I'm gonna use about 3/4 cup of water. I'm gonna add the 3/4 cup of water to the saucepan, add a big 3-finger pinch of salt, and let these apples cook down. They should soften way up. Okay, once we see the apples starting to get soft, I'm just gonna use a potato masher and just mash the apples down until it becomes your apple sauce. We're gonna cover this, allow it to cook until it cooks into a nice golden applesauce color. At that point, we're just gonna add about 3 tablespoons of sugar. We're gonna mix it up, let it cook down for just a little bit longer, and then we're just going to jar our applesauce. Look at this applesauce. I mean, I'm telling you, this is the best. You cannot, store-bought applesauce doesn't touch this. Hey gang, real quick, let me tell you about today's sponsor. Bright Cellars is a monthly wine club that matches you with wine that you'll love. Now, Monica and I love wine, and the one thing that drives me nuts about wine is you're always just picking wine in the dark. With Bright Cellars, they send you new wines every month so you can discover and find out what you enjoy the most. Bright Cellars does this by asking you a quick 7-question quiz. Now, this isn't like a snobby wine quiz. You just have to answer about the things that you enjoy. So in this month's box, we got the Latin Root, Tetrachroma, which is a Pinot Blanc, Silverscape, Western Cape Indula, Pinotage, I believe it is, Pinotage, and then Cactus Park Red Blend, love it, and then the Acopia Tempranillo. I am excited to try this one.
It's really smooth.
Very smooth, very rich flavor.
Yeah.
That is good. Every wine comes with a little info card, so that way you know about its origin, the flavors, what it's good to pair with. And Bright Cellars has their delight guarantee. If you don't like a bottle of wine, they'll send you a replacement in your next box. Now gang, Bright Cellars is giving you an exclusive 50% off your first 6-bottle box. Plus you'll be getting a bonus bottle, that's 7 bottles. So gang, follow the link in the description below, take the wine quiz, and get started with Bright Cellars today. Bright Cellars, thank you so much for sponsoring today's video. Now, if you are making this and you're just gonna buy some store-bought applesauce, it's just a 1/2 cup. That's all we really need. So I'm just gonna drop it into a small little food processor. I'm just gonna process this up until it's fairly smooth. I think that should be pretty good. Okay, that is a smooth looking applesauce. So I'm just gonna add the applesauce back to a bowl, and I think this is gonna help with some of the consistency that Emmy Made was talking about. So in the bowl with the applesauce, I'm gonna add 1.5 cups of sugar, and then a pinch of salt. Now in Emmy Made's video and the original video, they both use vanilla sugar. We're just gonna be using a little bit of vanilla extract. And now that we've whisked in all of the sugar, I'm just gonna add 1.5 cups of any plant-based milk. I'm specifically using Ripple, which is like a pea protein milk. We're gonna add that to a saucepan, get the heat up. We're gonna bring it up to about a boil. Okay, now that our milk is to a boil, I'm gonna remove the saucepan from the heat and whisk in our applesauce mixture. Once it's all whisked in together and it's all combined, we're gonna throw it back on the heat and we're gonna bring this back up to a boil. And then we wanna keep whisking until the mixture thickens up. Okay, once the mixture thickens up, we're just gonna return it back to our bowl. And we're going to allow this to cool back down to room temperature. I'm gonna cover it with a piece of plastic wrap, just so that way it doesn't develop a skin. Now, I hate when this happens, but I left it out. I didn't get video of it, but I have to tell you about it. Before we added the applesauce to the milk, I added a 1/3 cup of cornstarch, mixed that in, and then added the applesauce to the milk. That's what thickened it up like this. Ugh, it happens. Okay, so our mixture's almost cold. We're gonna get started with the last step, which is what is going to turn this into a buttercream. So we're gonna be using Mayoko's Creamery. This is a vegan butter. Emmy made and the original recipe used margarine. Vegan butters and their makeup are very similar to margarine. Mayoko's Creamery isn't dead on, but I think it's gonna be good enough, and I think it's actually gonna make a really good buttercream because it tastes way more like butter than pretty much any margarine I've ever had. So we need 1 cup and then 2 tablespoons. So essentially for that, it's 1 whole block of the Mayoko's butter. That's roughly about 2 tablespoons right here. Now this butter is fairly soft. It's pretty much room temperature. I'm just going to whip this until it's nice and light and airy. We're just gonna do this on a medium speed, and we'll just keep scraping down the sides as we go. This is gonna take about, 5-10 minutes. Okay, the margarine is looking nice and fluffy. Our applesauce mixture is cooled down. We're gonna add it in thirds, 3 parts. We're gonna make sure that we mix it really well. I mean, this is coming together unbelievable, and I can already tell you, I can see how this would make an insanely good buttercream. And now I'm just gonna make some vegan cakes to throw this on. I'm gonna be using my good friend Emma Fontanella over at Emma Goodies. I'm gonna use her recipe. It's her 5-minute birthday cake. No joke, I'm making these cakes in the microwave. All I did was follow Emma's recipe and I subbed out everything for plant-based products. Used plant-based yogurt, plant-based milk, and even the Mayoko's plant-based vegan butter. Same thing. This came out amazing. I threw them in the microwave. And then look at these friggin' cakes. Look at these cakes. Look at that. I mean, they're not perfect, but they're from a microwave, and they're not perfect because of me, because of the way that I made them. But I mean, other than that, these things are really cool little cakes. So I'm gonna do my best to throw this mixture into a piping bag. So let's see, how does this stuff pipe? I mean, look at that frosting. That is unbelievable. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm just gonna do like a nice little round thing there. I mean, that's probably not what you do. Then I'm gonna use my little, it's kind of like we're making a layer cake. I don't know if this is the best idea or not. It's probably not. And then I don't know how you do the sides. What do you do to get the sides? For this being a cake made completely out of plants, no animal products whatsoever, this is a pretty cool looking cake. I'm excited about it. It's gonna be like one of those rustic cakes. I always thought that looked cool. That is right there, a vegan buttercream layer cake. I am so excited to try this cake. Look at this little cake. There's your cake.
Oh, yay!
It's already sliced.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Microwave cake with apple buttercream frosting.
Cheers. Really good.
That is good.
I'm so excited about this cake. The cake and the frosting are awesome.
And then the frosting just tastes like a really good buttercream frosting.
Everything is really light and fluffy.
Does the buttercream frosting have any apple taste?
Not really. I mean, now that you say that, I can kind of taste a little bit, but not really. Like, it doesn't, I don't even notice that there's apple in there.
Yeah, you wouldn't have, like, if I just served this to you, you wouldn't have known that there was apple, and you probably wouldn't know that it was vegan. Yeah, no way.
Not at all.
That's good.
Really good.
Really, really good.